to go check out a property that we own. It's a 7-Eleven that we developed, and then on the same property they're building a Popeyes right now. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. There's a really interesting story with this property. When we first bought it, it was a bank, and the bank went out and we had to replace the tenant. And I just want to give you guys an example of how when something bad happens, something good can come out of it. And I'll talk a little bit more when we get there. All right, guys, we just got to the property. I'm going to explain how this property came to fruition. We purchased this property back in 2017 for $1.575 million. It was originally a Capital One bank. And what happened was we were holding on to the Capital One for a while, and they ended up going out of business. They moved up the street, so that left the property vacant. What we ended up doing was we reached out to 7-Eleven. We asked 7-Eleven if they wanted to come over here and take over. They came in here after years of applying for permits. We got the permits. They ended up spending around $3 million building this site. And the crazy thing about this property is that it's almost 3 acres. So over there, we rented the other half of the lot to Popeyes. Popeyes is spending another $3 million building a Popeyes. And the crazy thing is, both of these properties are bringing in about $150,000 a year in rent each. So it's about $300,000. And what I want to explain, the beauty of real estate, is the fact that we bought this for $1.575 million, and now both of these properties together are worth about $6 million. So it's been a long time, and it took a long time to get all of this completed, where the 7-Eleven is done and the Popeyes is done. But the Popeyes is already paying rent. 7-Eleven has been paying rent already. We made a lot of profit on just the land value and the property value, and throughout it we're making way more money on the rent. The other beautiful thing about real estate is every 5 years the rent goes up. So it goes up by 15%. Add both of it together, in 5 years the rent will go up to about $350,000, and then another 5 it'll go up to almost $400,000. We signed a 20-year lease on both of these properties. We're locked in. That's where, if we wanted to sell it, an investor would come in and pay a premium because he's guaranteed with national tenants, and he'll come in and pay for it. The name of the game of real estate, you come in, you buy a property, you add value. That's how you increase the value of your rents and the property value. Whether it's just increasing the rent, whether it's renovating, doing a small renovation, there's so many different ways to add value to a property. But this was a home run deal here. It sucked when the Capital One went out of business, but when you buy good real estate, it'll always go up in value, no matter what. And this just went from $1.575 million to now being worth over $6 million. It was a home run deal. And just to give you a little breakdown of the process of how 7-Eleven came here and Popeyes is coming here, we have a broker that reaches out to national tenants and asks them, I have a property right off the highway. Would you guys be interested in this location? And they'll either say yes or no. So the broker will reach out to multiple national tenants. This Popeyes is a franchisee. They own about 200 locations. He really liked this location because you see it's right off the service road, off of the highway. So there's a lot of traffic. It's going to be a very busy location. It's going to have a drive-through. It's the franchisee said, I'm going to take it, paying for the full construction, and they're already paying rent on top of that. Property development, it does take a lot of time, but it is worth it in the end. This Popeyes has been years in the making, from negotiating with the franchisee and Popeyes to getting the permits, and then finalizing the permits, getting the construction permits, to finally breaking ground, to the full construction of it, and then getting it open. It takes years, but it is worth it in the end because you're making millions of dollars. Rome wasn't built in a day. This isn't like quick and easy money, but it is how you build generational wealth, and it's how you hedge inflation, and it's how you make money while you're sleeping. A lot of people work for their money. Real estate works for you. You constantly will be making money as you're sleeping, and that's the goal. You know, if you hate working, real estate's the answer. You have to work in the beginning, you have to save your money, you have to do whatever you have to do to make money before you invest in real estate, and then once you invest in real estate, you'll be getting a check every single month for the rest of your life that pays for your life and plus. So that's the beauty of real estate. All right, guys, we just left the property. I just want to give you guys a brief summary. That property we bought for not that much money, considering what it's worth now, and that's just the beauty of real estate. You know, it always goes up with time. You know, you can add value to it by negotiating better deals and, you know, doing some construction, some renovations. There's a million different ways to add value in real estate and increase the property's value and increase your rent income. That's just a good example there of how something bad, you know, the Capital One leaving turned to something great, you know, 2 national tenants there now, and being worth even more money. So, you know, even when something bad happens in real estate, the crazy thing about real estate is that it always will come back better with time. That's just what we've learned over the years. No matter what, we've had tenants leave us over the course of 30 years multiple times, and it sucks when it happens, but they always end up getting filled with something better or, you know, equivalent, and that's okay, and that's great. So it's really hard to lose in real estate, that if you buy it correctly, and just with time it'll always go up. So, you know, stay tuned on the channel for more real estate content, more lifestyle content. Definitely, if you want to learn more about how real estate works, check out the WAP. The link is in the description to this video. I go more in depth on how commercial real estate works and how you can get into it, everything you need to know about it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.